All right, I'm going to show you how to run Colab 5 in its entirety, but feel free to pause along the way if you need to. All right, so I'm going to open up Colab 5. And for some reason, it dumps me right in the middle. I don't know why that is, so make sure you scroll to the top. All right, we're going to load our first section. It may take a second. All right, that is run. And now we need to input our name. So our name comes from our Colab 4 data. Now mine works when I select my name from here. So just Justin space Brennan. But if yours doesn't work, grab the way it's listed in the strand between the single apostrophes. So try both those. If both those don't work, then come talk to me and we'll try to figure out maybe what's going on. But mine works here, but I've had students work where they've used what's in the strand. Sometimes there's a space after your name, so pay attention to that. Sometimes that's the difference. So if there may be a space between your last letter and the apostrophe. So all those things actually do matter. But anyway, my name works with Justin space Brennan. So I'm going to type that in and hit enter. And now I need to generate the whole class ratings matrix. Now, this is where a lot of students are getting confused. This is not your Colab 4 strand. I needed all your Colab 4 strands to make an entire class set. You'll find the link to the class set right here in step 2. And I've been updating it every day when new students have entered their Colab 4 data. So you can enter that or grab that right there. And that gets pasted in this section. And you should see familiar students' names in that list to know that you're good. Now it's just trying to figure out what column it's going to reference data from. Nothing you need to do there, but you just got to run it. And the next section is just some more of the coding to try to figure out your testing set. And then we get into student ratings. We're going to run that. And we went from generic names to classmates' names. And these are how they've rated all the different songs. One thing to keep in mind, you will have blanks or NANs, not a number. You'll have those assigned to some of your songs. That is okay. You won't see it for others. That's part of the testing protocol for this program. So that's going to happen. In fact, you should see blanks or not a number at some spots. All right, we're going to do our train test split. So it's going to split our data. So we're going to keep some of our songs ratings in reserve to kind of verify our model. And then we're going to verify our whole class data. Again, you can look at the names of this class. It's not ours, but once we run it, it should update to your classmates. And notice that a brand new CSV gets automatically downloaded. That is your whole class ratings matrix. That's what you're going to use for your conditional probabilities. So when you get into these calculations right here, these vectors are just columns that I have cut and paste from that matrix. So you need that whole class matrix to do your probability calculations with your partner. You will not you'll have missing data from yours. So you have to grab your partners and your partner grabs yours and you can throw them together. I don't need them digitally, but from there, you're going to do your conditional probability calculations, which is you got to determine what you like and then what your partner likes, and then you're going to do your probability calculations from there. But let's go back to the Colab. So anyway, you need that. So we ran that, and there's not much else that's really happens. So we have to define liking a song. This is the part you're going to need EduBlocks for the programming. So if you go into EduBlocks, there's a link to that on the agenda right here. Sorry, right here on Revise the EduBlocks code. Click that link, you'll get this. You can just copy and paste. Oh, it's going to tell you there's a warning. You're just going to copy and paste this code into Colab. Notice where it says paste from EduBlocks below. So basically between the two green text, the number symbol basically just says this is a comment, so it's not part of the code. So between those two green comments, you're just going to grab all that stuff and paste over your new code. The only thing you need to change in the code is if you want to have a little more strict criteria for what it means to like a song. Let's just say you think 7 or better is liking a song, you would change that to 7. But I'm going to keep -5. I think 5 is a little low. You might want to change that. But you can keep it as 5 if you're comfortable with that. All right, then we go down to, well, we need to run that section, sorry. So we run that, and that then determines all the songs that are liked by the class. And then we're going to run conditional probability. That's the calculation you're doing by hand. And you get this CSV file. I'm going to open it up. This has all of the conditional probability calculations for the entire class. So you're just doing 2 of these, but you'll see all these numbers right here are all the calculations that are done. And you should have one for your own because you should be a perfect recommender to yourself. So that's why you see the ones kind of along the diagonal. But anyway, these are the probabilities that you'll find from the calculations. So just a heads up there. You're actually almost done. I know I've kind of gone into some other things here a second. I feel like I missed a run. Nope, all good. And then we're going to do our final prediction. So we have to predict on our test set. So these right here are our predictions for how much we would like the songs that we listen to and our actual ratings of them. But our predictions come from the entire class data. And we'll talk about how those are calculated afterwards, but I'd rather you get this. So make sure you screenshot this. This will be as a part of your final presentation. And that's it for Colab 5. So you can see that it can be done relatively fast as long as your name works and you know what you're referencing and you can copy that EduBlocks code. You can just dump that right in. So anyway, this video should really help you out.